Hello, I want to talk about the far-right March for Australia, but first, the police, the press and both major parties in Parliament are using the shocking military-style march by 100 neo-Nazis in the middle of Melbourne on Friday night to call for stricter and more repressive anti-protest laws. If introduced, the laws proposed would do nothing to stop the growth of the fascist right. However, they would be used to suppress left-wing protests like the protests for Palestine. The calls from the police and the major parties should be opposed. The police already have far too much power. If they wanted to, they could have stopped the Nazi protest in its tracks like they do violently to anti-genocide protesters, including just a day before to students occupying the street in opposition to Australia's complicity in genocide. The facts are, the fascist politics and the anti-immigrant rubbish being promoted around the March for Australia on August 31st are in many ways just a logical extension of the mainstream politics of both the ALP and the Liberals, who demonise refugees and blame anyone but the billionaires for the cost of living crisis. I want to put the argument to you that siding with a state that commits genocide and openly defends it is exactly what assists the growth of ethno-supremacist politics. What's even more absurd are the attempts of the mainstream right to conflate the pro-genocide politics of the fascist right with the anti-genocide politics of the Free Palestine movement. You may have seen the many videos going around calling for and organising the far-right rally on August 31st. If you look into the details of this march, they're using Nazi talking points like the Great Replacement theory to campaign against migration. The website that they're using to coordinate the event was created on the 8th of August, the 8th of the 8th, coinciding with the NSN's conference that day and also being a code for Heil the Moustache Man. Already, I've seen videos where migrants are warning other migrants to stay safe on August 31, asking others to tell family members and friends who don't speak English to be wary on that day. I don't want to live in a world where migrants have to warn each other about what the Nazis are planning on certain days. I want to live in a world where the Nazis are afraid of all of us every day. We can't rely on the major parties and the state to do anything about the far right. A far right that's aiming to funnel people's legitimate concerns about the cost of living into racist and anti-immigrant hatred. The only thing that'll drive the fascists off the streets are militant and mass counter-mobilisations, like those that drove out the True Blue crew and Reclaim Australia from 2015 to 2019, or the anti-One Nation rallies in the 90s, or even the recent rally that drove the Nazis from their gym in Sunshine West. This has always been the case, and not just in Australia, but around the world. From the Battle of Cable Street in the 30s to the Anti-Nazi League in the 80s. When we get organised and fight, we drive out the far right. These movements have always been multiracial and working class, the absolute nightmare of the far right. It's absurd that the response of the mainstream political establishment to fascists organising openly is to push forward anti-democratic reforms. Nazis most certainly shouldn't be able to march freely, but it's us mobilising on the streets to counter these Nazis and racists, promoting these August 31st anti-immigrant rallies online, that'll push them back and put them back in the bin where they belong. This is why we need to build a working class left that fights against all forms of oppression, and it's also why you should join the Socialist Party in whichever state or territory you're in. I know in Melbourne at least, there's a pro-Palestine rally happening at the same time on August 31st, so I really encourage you to get out to it. The Nazis are being really secretive about the location of their march, but it looks like they'll release the location on August the 15th. I think it's important to show that we oppose genocide, oppression, racism, and all forms of exploitation wherever we are, but also that we outnumber them.
I love what you do.
Thank you, mate. Cheers. You too.